Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the channel. It's Cynicalex, and today we're reviewing Spider-Man 2099 Miguel O'Hara, one of the new uniforms and the new tier 3s added with Across the Spider-Verse. And I know I said the same thing for Miles, but for Miguel, I gotta be honest, aesthetically, this is one of the most gorgeous uniforms I've ever seen. And I say this a lot, but it cannot be more true for this character. Every little detail on this skin is just perfection. And if you've seen the movie, or even if you've seen the trailers, this is literally ripped right out of the trailers. The height, the size, the bulk, the muscles, the arms, the claws, the little armband for him to travel through the different multiverses. Like, literally everything is picture perfect. He has this faint glow around his eyes and shoulders and sort of those wrist guard things. And then his animations are just gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. So much glitching. So many highlights. Really, the only thing that could maybe be argued as missing is the type of webbing that he uses in the movie. But even that, I don't find to be an issue because everything else is just so picture perfect and absolutely gorgeous. And that tier 3, straight out of the the train chase scene, just amazing, absolutely fantastic. The devs really crushed it, and yeah. I can't wait. When this dude gets a tier 4, he's going to be a force to be reckoned with. However, him not getting a tier 4 and Miles getting the tier 4 does really put him in an awkward situation. And much like Rocket, you're left wondering, what's the point, right? And that's a fair question. What's the point of 2099 when you have Miles? And I'll break it down for you guys pretty straightforwardly. There's no point. If you want them to do the same thing, it's just there's no competition. Miles is going to be better. Miles is super proc friendly, he's tanky, and he can go to level 80, and then he can go to tier 4. And just at level 80, he's going to be better than 2099. I don't need to test 2099 to know that. I mean, I have tested him, but I don't need to test him to know that. There are very few characters at level 80 that are worse than the same typing and the same, characters at level 70, right? There's very, very few. And the ones that are that bad are, painfully bad at level 80, and we avoid them altogether. But anyways, I do have a CTP of energy on him, no artifact. We have a stage 12 power of Angry Hulk. We have mostly 6-star Uru. He's got just under 55,000 physical attack, and then you can see the defenses and the HP. His optionals, I think we've gone over them, but White Fox, Doctor Strange, Swordmaster, Ant-Man, and Beast, pretty bad. But essentially, here's what I'm thinking. I'm going to showcase what he can do in PvE, and then we're going to build him for PvP, because frankly, he can't keep up. He can't keep up with Miles at level 80, and he certainly can't keep up with Miles at tier 4. I will test him on the same stages here, but the other thing here is compared to Miles, you can't do this. I mean, you can against Null because the ignore dodge is helpful, but it's worthless against Mephisto and other bosses, so you're going to have to do something like this. Right? Or I mean, you could do something like this. You could bring Echo, right? You can do whatever, but you can't take advantage of. You can take advantage of his lead. It's just not very good. Spider-Man 2099, just like the rest of the Spider-Verse characters, has the leadership ability, which means you can take full advantage of White Fox, and it means he's going to hit super duper hard. Now we're going to do a 3 cancel 4 cancel 5 combo, and then we're going to do 3 cancel 4 cancel 5 cancel 6 combo there. But as you can see, just doing that doesn't charge it up fast enough. So what you actually have to do is splash in the 1 and the 2. So we're back here, same rotation, 3, 4, 5. He's going to land at the very end of the 5. You have the V pad, and then when he lands, you do 2 cancel 1, and that's it. And then for the next rotation right after that, it's 3, 4, 5, 6, and you let 6 play all the way out until it is done. And it shouldn't splash over into the next rotation. Just make sure that 5 is almost off cooldown before you go into the next phase, because otherwise you will trigger it early. There we go. As long as you have about 53% charge on your tier 3 before you pop the final rotation, you should be good to go to launch it with your 3, 4, 5 combo. If you have less than 53%, then chances are you're going to fall short and you won't have enough there. We're just squeezing in the 1 and the 2 here so we can go for gold here. Very late, super delayed proc. Don't know where it was. It's there now, but that's kind of way too late. Kind of sucks there. I don't know what happened. It's a bit of a bug. But as you can see from the first phase, it was finished with 4:37 left. So it was finished in about 20-something odd seconds. What that means is Miguel is doing about as much damage as Miles was doing in the first phase there at level 70 with a Judgment. So very, very similar in terms of their damage at level 70, which is really good. But that also means, like I said, Miguel can't keep up with Miles once Miles can crank up to level 80. So at 70, they seem very similar. And I would probably say Miguel might be a little bit more fun to play. His skills are just too gorgeous. But yeah, that level 80. And the V-Pad, actually, to be honest, the V-Pad helps out 2099 a lot. And he still has that Lila AI for some extra added defensive measures, which is really nice. But yeah, unfortunately, we cannot compare them with just having Miles at level 70 because, yeah, he can go to 80. Now, you can use the V-Pad for Miguel here to move around, which is really nice because it means that he's basically never going to stun you. But this is over already, and bada bing, bada boom. So very similar clear speed, very similar survivability, very similar damage, and very, very easy to use and proc friendly between Miguel and Miles at level 70. They're basically almost the same. More run before we switch Miguel over to PvP. We're going to go to Gorr stage 25. Not quite sure if he can do 29. He does get guard broken here, which is kind of tragic. So keep that in mind. And him getting guard broken does point out a mistake that I made with his build that we'll talk about in just a minute after we either clear this stage or sort of fail to clear this stage. So let's check it out here. We're going to do 3, 4, 5 again. Very smooth proc, very smooth rotation. Just not a ton of damage right now. Certainly less, I think, than Miles was putting down at around the same clip. But yeah, not bad, not bad. We're gonna have to use the co-op skill here, and we're just gonna charge up. I think we missed a proc, but we were gonna have to be delayed anyways. I just wanted to charge up his tier 3. So this is probably where he's gonna cap out as far as these higher bosses go. I wouldn't, count on him to do a much higher stage. Tier 3s really struggle past Gorr to do anything, higher than like 19, 20. That's really where you start needing at least level 80s, if not tier 4s. So keep that in mind. It's not limited to 2099. It's just an issue that all level 70 tier 3s have. And of course, transcended characters. The V-Pad helps a lot, as you guys saw there, with moving around so that you can hit all of the clones, like the shadow monsters that he summons. But yeah, we're on pace right now, I'd say, to clear. Being able to use Spider-Woman here is a huge buff because her passive is just so strong. Like, it's a better version of Sif. So he really has essentially the best team he could have, right? Certainly the best team that he could have. I think we missed our proc there, unfortunately, because Gorr's doing all this funky shit, moving around like an idiot. So that's always nice. Okay, he's going to do that. So we're going to pop off. One thing I really like about Miguel is look at the tracking on his tier 3. Despite the fact that Gorr moved all that way, I'm still able to hit him. And then, of course, the V-Pad is fantastic for tracking opponents that are moving. So that is very, very nice. So, man, like, as far as how smooth he is to play, it really doesn't get much better than this. The only issue Miguel really has is... Whew, great damage there. The only issue Miguel really has is... Ooh, the invisibility popped up. He doesn't have guard break immunity, super armor, or invincibility on a skill. That, I think, is his biggest weakness, and it's actually one we can address through build changes that I should have realized and changed sooner. But there you go. We're going to be able to clear this one. We're going to get it done. If you guys haven't already guessed, because I've hinted at it twice, a Mighty CTP of Destruction would have been a much better build option for Miguel, and I'm actually kicking myself for not realizing it sooner. Basically because it fixes his weaknesses for PvE, and it's probably the only way he's going to get any action PvP-wise, if you know what I mean. Let's check out the AoE here as Gorr dashes around. Very nice. Yeah, so that AoE is nigh unmatched. If you guys don't play Gorr a lot, he moves around like an ass all the time. So yeah, being able to track him through all of that crap is really nice. And for lower stages, I would love to use Miguel just because it'll make it super duper easy. Not a ton of damage there. A little sus. Okay, the clones are going to come in here now. The AoE is going to help clear a lot of this crap out, which is nice, and build up my next tier 3. All right, he's going to dash, and then we're going to dash again. Now, this is a little sus because he does a lot of damage here. We do have invincibility on the tier 3. So So that's nice. But yeah, we're running a little short on time. The damage reduction that Gorr gets in the second phase is pretty brutal. Okay, not too sure what's going on here. I had to use the co-op skill, but it triggered my next proc, sadly. So we're gonna just pop this and see, and we should be done. Nice. Wow, he barely survived. 1975 on the HP. Barely survived. So we could have done that a little bit faster. We could have done that a little bit slower and a little bit safer. 4 minutes is not bad for a stage 25, but this is pretty much where he's gonna tap out until you start introducing like mighty or brilliant CTPs. He could go a little bit higher, but that's where it begs the question, why not just go with Miles in that case, right? Or Shadow Shell. So that's why I think PvP is really the game mode for him. However, if you take a look at his stats, his HP is very low. 86,000 with my cards is way too low. Way too low. Like, look at Spider-Man with 123,000, and that's with an Authority CTP. Now, Spider-Man does have 4 Heal Odin's Blessings, and he is level 80, but it's still, you know, he does have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He does have 6. No, he has 7. Yeah, he almost has the max number of HP Urus. So it's not really going to get too much better for 2099. We can give him a heal here. We can slap on a heal. You know what? Let's slap on 2 heals. I like him a lot. I kind of want to try to make this work. That puts us at 94,000. He's still struggling here, so we're going to have to unequip this. But I didn't want to spend the 600 crystals, but it's okay. But here's where it gets tricky. Here's where it gets tricky, ladies and gentlemen, because he does not have penetration on any of his base skills. This is a really, I think, this is a really big mistake by the devs. I think he should have penetration on 5 or 4. He has penetration on his tier 3, but what are the chances of him surviving that long, even with the accelerated decoy passive, right? So what a lot of players have done is they've given him a Mighty Destruction. The Mighty Destruction gives him 30% chance to penetrate, and it also gives him a big burst of damage, right? And the Strike proc is also going to give him 100% ignore dodge, and then the guard break immunity is also going to give him guard break immunity. The problem with this is it doesn't give him super guard break immunity, so he's still going to be vulnerable to Gorr's second skill. He's still going to be vulnerable to a lot of Jean's attacks, Adam's second skill. The other problem is it doesn't give him any HP. It doesn't make him tankier. So I'm personally torn between giving him something like an egg to see if that helps his survivability versus something like a destruction. The problem is with the egg, he's gonna have to survive long enough to get a kill, and I don't know if that's possible either. So, you know, I'm a little bit torn right now, but we're gonna try with the destruction first, just because, hey, if he can't penetrate, he can't do anything, and it does still give him the guard break immunity. This is, I think, the best hybrid build for him. So even if you're building him for PvE, I would try to give him a Mighty Destruction, unless you really can't afford it and you have to go with an energy, just because he already has chain hit damage on his kit, and this gives him the guard break that he needs to avoid getting knocked back during certain animations of certain bosses, right, during certain attacks. I really want to try something like this. Spider-Woman's going to give him the debuff cleanse and the 40% attack lead. She's also going to give him 25% ignore dodge and 30% decreased chain hit damage received, which is pretty huge. So she does give him a lot of offense and defense. And then Colossus, well, we all know what he does. All right, first up, we got a Gorr Ancient One Spider-Man team. We're gonna let Colossus die here to Gorr, which is sort of, you know, not to be, not to take anything away from Colossus. Holy crap, dude, Colossus is so good. But let's see how Spider-Man 2099 does. Okay, he immediately gets guard broken and dies. Yeah, this is the thing that I don't like about today's PvP. Not having super guard break immunity puts you at a massive disadvantage. Next team we're going to try here, Jean, Spider-Man, Adam, just like as meta as it gets. Again, I don't think 2099 is going to really do anything. These fights really hurt me because it begs the question, like, where the hell are you supposed to use Miguel, right? Like, like Alliance Conquest, that's basically it. He just gets one tap, dude. He has no chance whatsoever. He has no chance in hell. I don't even think he has a chance even in the most ideal situations because his cooldowns are just so fucking long. He just, like, I realized he comes in and it's like, oh my God. He survived? No iframe ignore? All right, let's see, versus Colossus. After my Colossus dies here, let's see how he does. This is gonna take forever, so we're just going to swap over to him. see how he does. Pops the 5, gets the webbing. Let's go. This guy's got no cleanse for some reason. Oh, that looks so cool, man. Looks so cool. He sucks so much, but it looks so cool. This is so tragic. All right, against Adam. Yo, against Adam, he didn't die right away. Let's go. That's a win in my book, baby. That's a win in my book. But as you can see there, Adam procced, I think, his invincibility or his... he procced something. Yeah, he couldn't penetrate, and then he died. So, yeah. No iframe ignore, no penetration, low defenses, basically is the kiss of death. I'll probably keep the Mighty Destruction on him just because it makes him just as easy to play in PvE, and because of his longer cooldowns, right? He's got 8 seconds here and 8 seconds here. You're going to have to run around and charge up anyways, like he has pretty short animations. I just really wish that he was better for PvP to make him different from Miles. Like, Miles is so obviously insane for PvE, and there's just not enough of a variety of PvE content where you would want to use both Miguel and Miles, unless you're a massive whale, right? There's no kind of PvE content where, hey, if you bring multiple Spider-Verse characters, you get some sort of bonus reward or some sort of bonus thing, you know? The only other piece of content the only content in my mind at all that you could argue you'd rather use Miguel before Miles, very specific wording there, is stage 31 of Shadowland. And you can see here, I've used Miguel for a long time on 31 versus that Spider-Verse stage, right? You can see him right there, 32, sorry, against the Sinister Six team, right? I've been using him for a long time when he had the white suit, and he crushes it now. It never really had a problem with this suit. It would just take a little bit of time because he doesn't one-shot, but now he easily one-shots. And that would basically be the only piece of content where you would be like, yeah, you want to use Miguel first since you can obviously use Miles on a much higher Shadowland stage. But that's really not worth it and not good enough to justify the 1,000 crystals. So it's with a heavy heart that I stamp this uniform as not worth it. Aesthetically, it's gorgeous. I love it. As far as being fun to play in PvE, I love it. Those are both 10 out of 10s. But then he gets basically a 0 out of 10 in PvP ability and PvP viability. And he gets basically a 0 out of 10 in terms of value because he's immediately replaced by so many characters, including Miles in this update. So yeah, kind of a tragic end for 2099 for now. Obviously, in the future, if he gets a tier 4, boom, it's a whole different story. But I would have loved for him to be stronger with this look. Not with a different look in the future, with this look. So hopefully the devs see this and they tweak his kit a little bit. Like I said, he just needs 2 of the 3, right? He has low defenses and HP. He has no penetration, and he has no iframe ignore. If the devs just give him 2 of those things, then I think he could be a really fun character for PvP. I genuinely think. Like, if they gave him penetration and iframe ignore, then I could say, you know what? Give him a mighty egg, or give him a regen, or give him an authority, because then you can shore up his defenses. But right now, there's just too many he has too many weaknesses for PvP. You can't solve them all with just one CTP. So yeah, kind of sucks. Hit me up in the comments down below. Let me know if you have a better idea, better solution. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.